Have you ever noticed that it is almost impossible to shake someone who is really in tune with their inner self? It's like trying to scale a mountain with a paper straw. No matter what is thrown at them, ridicule, judgment, even ridiculous nicknames like Skywalker, they remain calm, anchored, and completely undaunted. Their silence speaks louder than any comeback, not because they don't hear the noise around them, but because noise no longer has any power over them. What is the basis of this unshakable serenity? Loneliness. But not the kind we casually mention when we miss someone. This is the kind of solitude that removes all distractions, that forces you to encounter yourself, raw, unfiltered, and without escape. Just you and your shadows. In these long silences, there is no running away from your own doubts or hiding from your insecurities. The silence corners you, asks the hard questions you have been trying to cover up. And yes, it is uncomfortable. At first, it feels like looking into a mirror that reflects more than your appearance. It reveals your fears, regrets, and all the inner noise you've been silencing for years. But here's the interesting thing. As you stay there, in that stillness, something starts to change. Gradually, you face what once terrified you. You stop running away, and you begin to win. Not in a flashy, triumphant way, but in the slow, steady victory of self-understanding. This is the secret behind the quiet strength of deeply spiritual people. Their resilience comes not from running away from difficulties, but from walking straight through them. They have already sat with their pain, looked it in the eye and said, "I see you." They have overcome the storms in their own hearts. And when the outside world tries to shake them, it doesn't even register. Words meant to wound, accusations meant to hurt, roll off like rain on glass. Not because they don't care, but because they are doing the real work. They have dug deep, cleared out the clutter, and built something solid inside, a sanctuary untouched by the chaos outside. You can imagine a modern mystic hiding in a remote hut, away from the noise of everyday life. But the reality is much more subtle. Today's spiritual souls don't run away from the world, they walk right through it. They sit in cafes, ride the subway, work at mundane jobs. Like chameleons, they effortlessly adapt to their environment, blending in without becoming part of the chaos. They are invisible, not because they are hiding, but because they don't want to attract attention. And this is precisely what makes them so insightful. While the rest of the world is busy performing, they are quietly watching, absorbing every nuance that others miss. People feel safe around them, safe enough to stop pretending, to be real, even if they don't realize they are doing it. This is why it is almost impossible to fool a truly spiritual person. Years spent in silence and solitude have fine-tuned their intuition. They recognize micro-expressions, half-spoken truths, subtle shifts in energy that give everything away. This is not magic. It is mastery. A kind of internal radar that cuts through the noise and sees straight to the heart of things. When you are with them, you may get the feeling that they are reading you from cover to cover without asking any questions. And in some ways, they probably are. They have read the same pages themselves. Think about the first time you tried to meditate. Do you remember how difficult it was to sit still for 5 minutes, your mind racing like a runaway train, every itch or squeak magnified, the silence suddenly soaring? The same discomfort is what most people feel when faced with unexpected loneliness. It is as if the sound of life is suddenly muted and all that is left is the noise in your own head. For many, this is unbearable. For the deeply spiritual, it is familiar. They have made peace with silence. Where others feel boredom, they find clarity. Where others flee from silence, they settle into it like an old friend. But for those who walk the path of deep spirituality, the experience is different. Where many flee from loneliness, they bow down. Like meditation, they have learned not to run away from silence, but to dance with it. What others characterize as emptiness, they see as sacred space. They have discovered how to turn loneliness into something like gold. It is a kind of alchemy of the soul. Where many people see loneliness as a burden, they have turned it into a gift. In the stillness, where others feel the pain of absence, they bring forth presence, real presence. Joy springs not from outside, but from the still waters within. They have built a quiet sanctuary within themselves, a space that feels more like home than any house could ever feel. There is a beautiful truth once spoken by Thich Nhat Hanh. Home is a place where loneliness disappears. But for those with deep spirituality, this home is not found in people, places, or things. It is built brick by silent brick until loneliness no longer feels like being alone, but like returning to oneself. Paradoxically, they find such a deep connection in their loneliness that they are never really alone. And then there is the wisdom shared by Javier Bardem. It is easier to look at the other and realize what divides us than what brings us together. This insight applies to most of us. But spiritual people, they see the thread that binds us together. They have spent so much time diving into the depths of their own being that they have tapped into something that most people never hear. The silent, universal pain that lives inside all of us. Because they have dared to face their own heartbreak, their own longings, and their own fears, they recognize the same shadows in others. They recognize the sadness behind a smile, the worry hidden in small talk, the pain masked by pride. Not because people tell them, but because they feel it themselves. They not only hear your words, they feel the weight behind them. And often, before you can find the words, they understand what you're going through. The ability to truly understand others gives deeply spiritual people an incredible advantage both in their personal lives and in the professional world. On a personal level, they have an ability to see people, not just on the surface, but underneath. They can sense when someone is suffering, even if that person hasn't said a word. They offer a kind of support that comes not from solving problems, but simply from being present in a way that makes others feel truly understood. They don't need to force the connection. It happens naturally. While most of us get hung up on appearances, they bypass all that and go straight to the soul. They know how to meet people where they really are, and that same emotional radar becomes a rare superpower in the workplace or business world. People want to be heard and seen more than ever. Whether someone is hiring a coach, choosing a brand, or deciding who to trust, they are looking for someone who understands them. A spiritually grounded person with their deep understanding of human emotions and behavior knows how to reach unspoken needs. They build bridges where others build walls, bridges of empathy, intuition, and genuine connection. But perhaps one of their most underrated strengths is the clarity they gain from spending so much time alone. This solitude sharpens something inside them, a razor-sharp self-awareness. They know what is important to them. They know what consumes them. They have cut through the noise and reached the core. So when you talk to them, there is no fluff, no mask. It's as if you're talking to someone who has skipped the small talk and gone straight to the heart of the movie. There is a refreshing directness in their energy. You ask a question and you get a clear answer. It's not maybe, not let me think about it, just yes or no. And the no comes without guilt, without apology. Not because they don't care, but because they care enough to stay true to themselves. They live by an old Spanish proverb. In the ability to ask lies, the virtue of not giving. In other words, just because you ask doesn't mean they owe you a yes. And they don't mind that. They listen with kindness, but they don't betray their own values for the sake of approval. If your request doesn't align with their goals or principles, they won't cave in. This kind of mental clarity is rare. This is why they can move forward in life with calm confidence. They do not hesitate. They do not please people. They trust their path and walk it with integrity. If you made it this far, thank you for sharing your time and energy with me. I would love to hear what speaks to you the most. Leave your thoughts, reflections, or anything else you would like to add as a comment below. Your voice is important. Until next time, take care of your soul, and as always, I wish you a peaceful, beautiful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed the video.